Hey everyone, Real with Wes. Happy Monday. Hope you guys are ready to start off an awesome and amazing week. Hope your work day, whatever you're doing today, has been going well. If you didn't catch this weekend service, catch Saturday night, go back and watch it. YouTube, man, just giving out life-changing word, pouring out where we're going as a church, ministry, all these cool things going on. This coming Saturday, October the 16th, guess what? We got our in-person service. We're almost here, and we're celebrating 17 years of World Changers Church, New York, changing people's lives and furthering our perspective and understanding of God. And that's what we want to continue to do. And we're going to come together and we're going to celebrate in-person service on our YouTube page, on our Instagram page, on our Facebook page. You're like, where's all the details? You can read it, look up on our feed and our wall, all the details, the times. Doors open at 5 o'clock, service starts at 6. If you're not able to make it, we will be streaming out as always. Make sure you bring your face mask though. We are going to be doing that, checking temperatures. We want to keep everybody safe coming in to enjoy the night, to celebrate, but it's going to be a life-changing time. Centennial Memorial Temple is where it's going to be. That you can look that up. Manhattan though, pretty easy to get to, so I hope to see you there, and I'm super excited to see you guys and be able to come together and celebrate once again. So let me jump into this week though. This week I'm talking about the perspective of empathy. If you've been listening to a lot of my messages, I started out actually the top of 2020 talking about the love of God, and man, it's been this journey I've been going on. Actually, my wife Nicole and I, we've both been going on this journey together, practicing it towards each other, all these different things. I think it's been shaping my world and shaping how I approach situations and see situations. It's challenged me though too, because I haven't always got it right. But the perspective of empathy, man, when you buy into this, and I use that term, buy into it loosely, but to encourage you to embrace it, because it can seem very awkward at first, with so much things being taught. One, the fallen human nature, we'll get into that a little bit. One, the way religion is taught, and in all aspects, not just Christianity, but every type of religion, which teaches an us versus them so many times. It's hard to be empathetic and put yourself in other people's shoes. And so we don't want to become cold and heartless. That's really what happens when we can't see things from someone else's perspective. And so our perspective becomes, actually, instead of broadening our perspective, which allow more light to come in, it actually narrows our perspective and become darker and darker. And this week, I'm really, when I talk about this perspective of empathy, is talking about towards humanity. Now, the word perspective itself, let's start out with this. This one's going to be a little more of a teaching this week, but man, when you get into this, if you'll stick with me this week, it'll be freeing also. Man, you'll be free to love unconditionally, just as God loves us unconditionally. You'll see God different. You'll see people different. You'll see yourself different, and you'll be a lot happier, actually, believe it or not. When you can operate empathy, it's challenging at first, especially when you're learning to practice it, you're doing it. But man, honestly, it keeps you out of all the muck of strife, the muck of fighting, the muck of all the friction. You live freer, actually, in life. It's a beautiful thing. So let's take the word perspective for a moment. Perspective is really how you see things. What has shaped your world? What is from the past, the present, the things you've gone through, your background, your culture, where you're from, the world, where you've grown up, who your parents were. All these different things layer our perspective, is what that is. And it really shapes how we view and see in our ideology of approaching every situation. Perspective is also used in an artistic form in the art world, and which I think still applies here, because you're painting a picture of your perspective of something. And let me give you a better example. You know how you watch a movie? I can put 100 people in a room to watch a movie. There'll be similarity, and let's say I take those 100 people, we watch the same movie, we come out, we interview each person. Well, each person's going to give their perspective on the movie. So no review is going to be identical. We'll see the highlight reels, the same things, there'll be some main point of views, but everybody will have a different slant on that. That's because everybody's perspective is different. So it's ultimately, how are you filtering what you're receiving and how you're seeing things? So that's what perspective is. How are you going to filter? And this week, if you'll stick with me, is a reset of that filter, just a little bit, because it's meant to be quick and kind of hit there. I'm almost already out of time. I don't want to go really long with these. They're not meant to be super long. But now our perspective is now being shaped from the standpoint of empathy. And we'll get into tomorrow. We're going to talk about what is empathy. I want to really break this down. Some people are like, I know what empathy is. Okay, well, do the homework, go look it up, but I want to talk about it a little more. But perspective, let's start there. This is the idea of shaping your perspective, changing how you filter. Ultimately, what are we changing our perspective on? How we treat people. When we deal with the word empathy, we're going to start talking about shaping our perspective of how we treat people and how we see people in their situation. And really, it's to grow more towards like Jesus, which is growing in love, growing in treating people with equality, growing in treating people with dignity and empathy, being able to sympathize, being compassionate. These are all things the Bible talks about, and it really reflects the nature of God ultimately, though. But we have to make this strong stance to move this direction, but it's going to move us further away from being cold, from being harsh towards people, from being where we cannot understand people and show care. When we step in this perspective of empathy, man, you're going to see the world completely different, and it's going to radically change your life. All right, that's all I got. And keep going, but come back tomorrow. We'll talk about empathy, and hope you guys have an awesome day. Catch you tomorrow.